This is a video review of the film. The film contains actors over 18 years of age. The video is made for entertainment purposes. The author of the video does not intend to offend anyone. Hi all. Today I will talk about the movie Bad Behavior.
What the hell are you doing to my mom?
Rick wakes up in his room in the morning. He thinks that this is a completely ordinary morning, which is no different from the previous days. But he was wrong. Rick comes into the living room and finds his mom there. A woman lies unconscious with a bottle of alcohol in her hands. Rick sees the scattered pills and finds a dying message. Rick immediately called emergency services. Rick reads the letter his mother left for him. She blames him for what she did. The woman decided to commit suicide because she found out that Rick was in a romantic relationship with her best friend. This news broke the woman's heart. But before we find out whether Rick's mother survived, we need to know what led up to this event. Rick lives in an ordinary American family. His mother drinks alcohol every day. His brother is gay. His sister works as a dancer in a club. Rick has been living alone for a long time and does not ask his mother for help. A woman dreams only of her children growing up and going to work. She also wants to talk about her husband. Rick leaves the house and meets his father. The guy hopes that dad came to visit his children, but he was wrong. The man asks for the tape. He recently made an interesting film with his mistress. A little later, Rick comes to the club where his sister works. Club owner Jimmy gives Rick a task. He must find the dancer and find out why she didn't come to work. Rick comes to the woman's house and says she's looking for her boss, but she doesn't want to go to work today and asks Riku to help her. He has to tell Jimmy that she's sick. For this, she does Rick a small favor. Immediately after this, Rick runs to his friend Billy. He wants to tell him that he has now become a man. At the entrance, he met Billy's mother. The woman is very happy to see Riku and invites him to enter the house. She is better friends with Ricky's mother, and therefore she is always happy to see him at home. Rick tells Billy that the dancer took his lollipop. Billy's mom overhears this conversation. A woman comes into the room and asks Billy to come into the store. Rick is also planning to leave, but she asks him to stay. The woman sits down next to him and asks him about what she did with the other woman. Billy's mom wants to teach Rick a good lesson, and he agrees. Rick realized that he had done wrong, but every guy would have done the same in his place. Rick and Billy come to class the next day. They discuss which girl Rick really likes since childhood. Rick wants to make her fall in love with him by the end of this school year. But there's a problem. She likes the coolest guy in this place, who doesn't let anyone near her. Unexpectedly, an acquaintance approaches them and suggests making a bet. Rick must make Nina fall in love with him within 2 weeks. They conclude a sum of $1,000. But Rick soon learns that this son is known as the head of the mafia, and if Rick loses the bet and doesn't pay the money, he could lose his fingers. Rick goes into the toilet and makes a fool of himself because he did something rash. At this moment, a fairy appears in the toilet. Lola gives the guy advice and motivation to win this argument. Rick goes to Latin class, but the teacher dies during the lesson. In honor of this, all students are excused from classes. Rick realizes that this is the perfect chance to get to know Nina better. He invites her to their teacher's funeral. Nina is a noble and kind girl, and she, of course, agrees to go with him. During the funeral, Nina and Rick sit in the car and listen to music. Suddenly, Nina's favorite song starts playing. Rick says that he personally knows the performer of this song. Nina says that tomorrow there will be a concert, and she offers to go there together. She asks to be taken backstage after the performance and introduced to her idol. Rick promises to help her. Nina also talks about how she wants to become a nun after school and help people. Suddenly, someone crashes into their car. A group of nuns get out of the car, and the Holy Father offers a deal. He will fix Rick's car for free if he doesn't call the police. Rick agrees, but is left without a car. Rick decides to ask Jimmy for help. Jimmy promises to give him a backstage pass, but to do this, Rick must complete an assignment. He must bring him illegal substances in the evening. Rick goes to a well-known dealer and gets some pills for himself. Now he needs to find a car to go to the concert. He asks Billy's mom to help him with this. The woman agrees to give him a car, but to do this, he must help her cope with loneliness. Rick gets the car. In the evening, Rick, Billy, and Nina come to Jimmy. Rick gives him the pills, but Jimmy doesn't want to keep his end of the deal. Rick doesn't know what to do, and out of anger, he kicks the car, but he notices his father and Billy's father in the next hotel room. The guys take out a camera and film them. Rick succeeds in blackmail, and Billy's father promises to say that it was he who crashed into the car. Rick and Nina didn't get to go to the concert, but the girl isn't offended because she had a great time and was having fun. The next day, a new Latin teacher arrives for class, and a few minutes later, the woman dies. Students are dismissed from classes again. Rick comes home and receives a call on his phone. The auto mechanic says he won't be able to fix the car by the scheduled date. He says that his boss allowed Rick to choose any car for the weekend. Rick asks for an Aston Martin. All day long they ride with Billy and Nina in a cool car. But in the evening they are stopped by the police. The body of a famous mafia member is found in Rick's car. Rick says he is not involved in this murder, but the officer doesn't believe it. A lawyer girl comes to Rick and helps him. They come up with a story that Rick's father is the head of the Lithuanian mafia. The officer believes them and releases Rick. Rick thanks the woman lawyer. It turns out that the Holy Father sent her to help Rick. A woman finds pills in the car and takes them. Rick did not have time to warn her that these pills should not be taken. The woman begins to have a lot of fun and begins to seduce Rick. She invites him to her home, but Rick holds back because he only wants Nina. Rick comes home and sees that his sister has thrown a party. She invited many of her friends from work. Rick comes up with a plan to make money. He invites all his classmates home and charges admission to the party. She and Billy manage to earn a lot of money, but suddenly Billy's mother comes to the party. She takes pills and starts going crazy. The woman tries to hit on Rick, but he resists. Billy walks into the kitchen and sees his mom. Rick explained to his friend that she was the one who molested him. Rick calls Jimmy and asks him to come over to calm down Billy's mom. Soon Nina arrives at the party. Rick says that his sister threw a party at the house, and he has to endure all the noise. He invites Nina to go to his room to talk. Rick is about to kiss Nina, but Billy's mom comes into the room. She interrupts them because she doesn't want Rick to spend time with another girl. Also, the boss of a famous mafia enters the room and he accuses Rick of the fact that the police are looking for him. The man thinks that Rick is the son of a major mafioso. Nina hears this and realizes that Rick was lying to her. Rick tries to stop Nina, but accidentally reveals that he made a bet. Nina is furious about Rick. At this moment, the police arrive and begin to detain all the people at the party. Nina wants to punch Rick in the face, but accidentally hits the officer. As a result, the police detain everyone except Rick and Billy's mom. Rick comes to the police station and realizes that he is to blame for everything. He apologizes to his sister and promises to help her get out of prison. After this incident, Rick's mother attempted suicide. Rick comes to Billy's mom and talks about what happened. He says that because of them, Mom is now in the hospital. He will no longer come to Mom Billa because he is going to live like a good person. He comes to the hospital to visit his mother. He apologizes to her and says that many people suffered because of him. Mom is angry with him, but forgives him and gives him advice. She asks him to go to Nina right now and confess his feelings to her. Rick comes to the lawyer and asks him to help him. The woman helps get Nina out of prison. Rick confesses his love to Nina and apologizes to her. She forgives him and says that she likes him too and had fun spending time with him.
And we all lived happily ever after.
And this is where the film ends. Write your opinion about this in the comments. Like the video and subscribe to the channel. Click on the bell to be the first to watch new videos.